Man United 2, Spurs nil. Okay, fantastic. My phone goes off straight away. Decent performance. I'm not really sure how this game would have gone if Romero didn't get sent off. Well, no, I was feeling like Spurs were going to score up until Romero got sent off. Then after that, I was confident we could come out with something. I did predict 3-2 for this game, but I don't think this game was ever going to be 3-2. 10 men are not for Spurs. I don't think so. I think Spurs would have scored with a full team, but yeah, I don't know. I think United were, well, they deserved a second goal, but I think they were lucky to get it because their finishing today wasn't very good. Some good play, absolutely good play, good bit of control in that game as well. I mean, I think the last team we played against that was 10 men was Everton, and we all know how well that was because Amram just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So I'm glad Michael Carrick's come in and shown him how to fucking win against 10 men at home. Anyway, I enjoyed that. I actually did. I felt like I actually cared. I cared a lot more. I had so much confidence in the team, even when we were 1-0 up and we weren't scoring. Like under Amram, when we're in that situation, the very rare time we were actually winning, you'd be like, okay, no, the opposition are going to go get something out of this game. They might even score 2 late goals and win. With this one, I was like, I don't know. I don't think Spurs are going to score. Or even if they do, we have that attitude where you just go and get another. That started with Arsenal. You saw it in Fulham. Today, it didn't need to come into play here, but could have easily. Well, let's get into some stats, then I'll have my feelings on it, and then afterwards we'll see what happens. And also, yes, I have tried to fix the lighting, but no matter what I'm doing, it's just blue. I'm just coming up blue today, so I guess I'm depressed that the camera knows it. Right, stat-wise, 65% possession. I think that's the most possession we've had under Carrick. I was going to say Ollie, but no, that was a few years ago. Yeah, so most men possession, I'm pretty sure that was. If any of my stats are incorrect here, blame One Football. I'm literally reading it off there. So, I haven't done my own research. I don't have time for that shit. Yeah, 10 shots on target and a total of 23 shots. Again, we're attacking so much better. Like, Amram's shitty fucking 3-4-2-1, attack-based system where you've played 9 defenders doesn't work, and you can tell when you actually play a proper fucking system and just let the players play the way they want, you'll get better results, and we're proving that. 4 wins in a row, 4 out of 4 for Carrick this term. Or I think it's 7 games he's played in total with 6 wins and 1 draw, isn't it? Overall, since he started at United, including after Ollie. Like that, we've played some very good stuff. Like they're probably the only stats, the 3 stats that I think are worth talking about for me anyway, since I don't really go into depth on stats too much. But even then, we had pretty much double the passes that Spurs had. And I think that just shows the control that we had. Particularly Kobbie Mainoo was fantastic. Well, I think Casemiro was man of the match for me. And Bowman was decent, but fucking hell, what are we going to do with Casemiro? Because he's going to go, and who have you got to take over that you could be confident enough saying, yeah, go on, you're alright? Because Ugarte is not the same player that Casemiro is. In fact, I'm not even sure if you have got a same player that Casemiro is around, whether at the club or not. I think you'd have to get a youth player and morph them into what Casemiro does. Well, we have loads of youth players. In fact, we have the Fletcher brothers. I'm sure you could teach one of them how to do it, but we don't know. Well, anyway, Romero gets sent off for a nasty tackle on Casemiro. Could have easily snapped his ankle there, but he didn't, thankfully. Thank Christ, because that would have been our season over if the second Casemiro goes. So I'm glad Casemiro is fine, but I don't think Romero meant it, because he didn't seem to want to fucking fight anyone. So I think he was pretty much, I don't know. I think he accepted the fact that was terrible, which it was. So no complaints there for that red card. There were penalty claims for Solanke, which wasn't given, and then I think Cunha went down in the box on the other end, and that wasn't given. And quite honest with you, if Solanke's wasn't a penalty, Cunha's definitely was not a penalty. Because if you give Cunha's, you have to give Solanke's. But if you give Solanke's, you don't have to give Cunha's. That makes sense. Anyway, that's just opinion on it anyway, but according to the refs, it wasn't a penalty, either of them, and I think that's a fair choice. In fact, I actually think Michael Oliver was actually alright today. I think the only thing that I would have said where he was a bit harsh was, I'm not sure if it was Conor Gallagher or it was Polina. It was one of those where it was a yellow card for one of them, and I felt like that was a bit harsh. It shouldn't have been given. I think it was Polina on... wasn't Casemiro, it was Kobe Mainoo. Actually, yeah, he went in. Yeah, I understand why he gave the yellow card. The feet were up and all up. I feel like that was just a bit of a follow-through that he couldn't avoid. But, again, that's a nitpick, to be quite honest with you. And usually I've got loads to say about refs, but this time, not much. But anyway, Bremo scores with a Kobe Mainoo assist from a very well-worked corner routine. Yeah, I was surprised that Mainoo wasn't offside, but I don't know, one of the Spurs players must have been on the goal line keeping them clear. But anyway, very good goal, very tidy finish, and that set us up for what was going to be I'm not going to say it was an easy day, but it was definitely a calm. It was a calm game for me anyway to watch. Then after huffing and puffing for the entire match, trying to get a second and somehow not scoring a second, regardless of who was taking shots. Like Luke Shaw had 3 shots. That just goes to show, like, has this guy scored 3 goals in the Prem in his career, including Southampton United? And he has 3 shots today alone. In fact, I think he barely has double digits for shots in his career. And he's gone and got 3 today. So it just goes to show, like, United were dominating. Spurs were, yeah, I know they're down to 10 men, but they had no control at all. They had a few good counter-attacks, that was it. And then Delo gets an assist for Fernandes. Fernandes very cleverly just lets the ball hit off his shin and manages to go in. I feel like Sesko got a touch on that over his head, which would have put Fernandes offside, but I don't know, it looked like he got a touch, but it counted, and that's fine by me because Fernandes and Mbeumo are in my fantasy team, so I'm happy enough for them getting points. I think that's 8 points each for them, so that's class. So that puts us 2-0 up, and then we have subs for Luke Shaw came off for Mazraoui, who was okay when he came on, wasn't great. Casemiro came off for Ugarte, and I was thinking Carrick was not going to let Casemiro come off early in that game. I thought if he was taking Casemiro off, it's going to be late, which is a problem because he cannot play near 90 minutes every single match. He's going to have a rest at some point. So it's just, when do you choose to take that rest? You've got West Ham coming up next. Can you really afford to give him a breakdown? What are West Ham going to do? Because they're on a bit of a resurgence. I don't know. Xerxes came on for Bremo. I thought Xerxes was alright. And then finally, Casemiro came off for Tyler Fletcher to get his debut. And I actually thought he was alright. He didn't look very confident in himself. Because he was very, negative, just take a touch and pass it off immediately. He didn't try to dribble or anything like that. Would have been nice to see, but look, it is what it is. He got his debut, so now that's the entire Fletcher family has played for United, I'm pretty sure. So, with that, my man of the match is Casemiro again. Classy Casemiro. Casemiro showing his class. Alright, I'm just going to leave it there. I'm happy enough with that. Alright, next weekend we've got the first episode of Can I Save Their Season coming up. That'll be every Friday from now on, from Friday the 13th onwards. And then we've got West Ham match reaction on, I think that's Sunday. So we'll have that match reaction out on Sunday. So until then, I'm out of here. Good result.